Hey, it's Cobra here at MaddenGuides.com, and for this Madden 22 formation tips video breakdown, I want to take a look at an offensive formation called gun tight slots halfback weak. In this particular formation, you have two receivers on the left that are tight, and then you also have two receivers on the right that are tight. Another thing I like about this particular formation, if you flip it, you're going to get a different look than what it would look by default. And I want to show that later in the video breakdown. For now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and take a look at the formation diagram and info about this particular formation. And as you can look at, it's called gun tight slots, halfback weak. The formation type is compressed. Personnel is 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 receivers. Personnel group is 11. Personnel alignment is 2x2. The packages are halfback sub, backup QB, fullback, wide receiver flip, tight end sub, and dual tight end slot. Now, as far as the playbooks, you'll find this particular formation in. You're going to find them in the Bengals, Colts, Eagles, Panthers, Raiders, and the Rams. For this video breakdown, we're going to go ahead and show it out of the Panthers playbook if you're following along. So what I want to do right now is I want to go ahead and get onto the field and go ahead and show you some of the motions, different types of motion you can use with this formation when it's normal by default and then when you flip it. So that's going to be kind of interesting. And then in another video breakdown, I'm going to show you a play that you can run from this particular formation that's very, very effective against press man coverage. And we'll talk about that in another video breakdown. So let's go ahead and get on the field and take a look at this as far as what we're going to do with this. As far as from the offensive side of the ball, obviously I just told you we're using this from the Panthers playbook. We're going to run it out of the stick switch, at least initially. That's the play that we're going to choose. Really doesn't matter because I'm not going to run a play in this video breakdown. Just want to let you guys know. And then from the defensive perspective, we're going to run this from the 3-3-5 wide cover 2 man, and this is out of the Falcons playbook if you're following along. All righty, let's go ahead and just take a look at this formation. Now, I've already mentioned this right here to you guys, that you have 2 receivers lined up to the left that are lined up tight. So those are going to be, we're going to go ahead and call those guys the split in and the slot receiver. Now you'll notice that they're not stacked, but they are lined up tight. And then over here towards the right side of your screen, you've got the tight end, and then you also got the split in. And again, they're lined up tight. Now, in a lot of the tight formations, what you would see would be 4 receivers, and they would look basically what you see with the slot and the flanker lined up on the left. They would line up basically like that, and they would mirror each other. But in this particular formation, the tight end lines up as if he's going to pass block, or at least more like in a wing position if you look at it right there. And then the running back, he's lined up to the weak side of the formation, as you see right there on your screen. Now, as far as what we can do with motion without flipping it, I'm going to go ahead and show that to you guys right now. We're just going to go ahead and start off with this guy right here. This is the split in. You can go ahead and move him out to the left, and you still kind of get a tight look to the right, but then to the left, you get more of a traditional type looking formation, such as like maybe the gun normal or something like that. Let's go ahead and move him, motion him over here towards the right side of the field. I want to show you guys this so you guys can see it. I wouldn't call this a bunch set per se, but it's kind of like one, I guess. Normally you would think when you think about bunch, you think that there would be another receiver lined up like in here, and that would be more like a bunch. But the tight end is lined up right here. And so in a sense, it kind of is a bunch formation when you think about it, just that the tight end's lined up a little bit differently than he would, say, in a bunch formation. But anyway, that's it on there as far as that motion goes. Let's go ahead and motion the next receiver over. We're going to motion the slot. And with this receiver, you can only motion them to the right as you look at it. And again, you're going to get kind of that same look as if you would have done with the split end. So you kind of get that basically a bunch formation in a sense. Let's go ahead and motion him back. The tight end, you really can't motion them out wide to the right, but you can motion them out to the left. And then if you look at it, what you get here with this particular formation is a bunch looking formation. So you end up getting a bunch to the left as you look at it. And then over here, you're going to get the receiver here that's lined up by himself. So you kind of get this, if you really look at it, you get a bunch strong formation, if you will, with a tight receiver to the right as you look at it. So that's kind of cool right there with this formation, something you can do with it. Remember, this is without flipping it. And then you can go ahead and motion this guy out wide. This is going to go ahead and be the flanker. Again, you can have the tight look over to the left and then have another receiver lined up more in a traditional alignment on the right there. The other option would be, if you wanted to, and you're going to kind of get the same look. You're going to get that bunch look as if you would with the tight end. But this time it's going to be with that receiver there. So we get 3 receivers lined up there over on the left in a bunch formation. Then we get the tight end lined up in a normal traditional stance where he's lined up on the line of scrimmage as you look over there onto your right. So that's really it as far as this goes, as far as with the as far as with the motion when it's default. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and flip this, and then I'm going to show you some more motion that you guys can do. Now I'm not going to get too crazy on this as far as all the motion here. I guess I'll show you some of them. Might as well, we just did all the other ones. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and flip it. Now remember, this is flipped. Here you can go ahead and motion the receiver to the outside. Again, you kind of get that traditional look with him being on the outside, and you get to tight end the wing. And then as you look at it over here, you get these receivers, you know, tight, and they're basically alignment to the right. They're tight. So you get a kind of a look on one side where one guy's lined up out wide, and you get the tight to the other side. Again, you can go ahead and motion him over here, and you're going to get this look. Now, this is kind of cool as far as with this. You're going to get him lined up in the out there to the right. But if we zoom in here, I want to show you. Now, this isn't the real thing that I want to show you, but this is kind of cool. This is another different look that you can get. You can get him lined up just a little bit, not stacked behind, where the tight end stacked behind him, but you can get him pretty close. And this right here is probably going to allow you to get some bump and run man beaters. All right, what I want to do is continue on with this. This next one here is the tight end. You can go ahead and flip him, go ahead and motion him to the outside, and you kind of get this look right here. So again, you kind of get that stacked, or not stacked look, but you get that 2x2 look, but now he's more in a traditional stance right there, rather than where he's in the wing right here. If you can look at it, he's lined up like he's going to block. Here, he gets more in a traditional look. So you get him in a normal stance, like a normal receiver stance. So that's something you can do with that. Now, the next thing you can do is you can motion this guy out to the outside here, where he lines up in that formation there. So you kind of just switched him. Rather than being tight to the inside, he's going to be lined up to the outside, but it's still a tight formation. He's still got the tight look. He's just in a different spot. So that's kind of cool right there. I'm going to save this other receiver for just a second. Now, the running back, as you can see, you can't do anything with him as far as with this. Now, I didn't forget one thing I wanted to show, and I forgot to do it, and I'll do it later in the video breakdown. If you flip it back to the normal by default, we can actually motion him out wide to the right. I forgot to show that to you guys, and I apologize on that. Now, this is kind of the cool thing that you can do with this particular formation I'm about to show here in a second here, as far as what you can do to get a different look that maybe you didn't think of. And this is kind of cool, and this is going to get us a stack look here, which is what I really like about this particular formation. All right, so now if you look at it, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in because I want to show you guys this. This right here to your right side, as you look at it, by doing that motion I just did, and I'll go show you guys again, you get this stack look. And this is what I want to show in another video breakdown, where you can create a nice press man beater with this from a particular play. And I'm going to show that later in the breakdown. So to get this, the stack look that I'm showing, obviously the play has to be flipped. You have to take control of the outside receiver in the tight formation on the right once the offensive play is flipped, and then you simply motion him over to the left, and then you get that stack formation. Plus, you still get the tight look over here. You get the stack here, and then you get the tight looking right here. So that's kind of cool right there. And as I pointed out, you guys can definitely do some stuff with this to beat press coverage. Plus, it's kind of like a double motion. Now, as long as the ball's not snapped, it doesn't matter. You can motion two guys. You just cannot snap the ball while two guys are in motion, obviously. And even in real football, you can't do that. So, but you can have two guys going in motion, let them set, and then snap the ball. So that's kind of cool right there. The other thing I just talked about just a second ago with this particular formation is you can motion the running back out. Now, this is by default. You can motion him out to the right. You cannot motion him out to the left, but you can go into an empty formation. And if you have a really, really good running back who can catch the ball, such as McCaffrey, you can get him matched up with a corner where he's lined up to the outside, and maybe he can beat that corner. Now, not all corners are created equal, obviously, but if you can find a corner, you get a matchup, you can isolate him in one-on-one coverage and maybe be able to take advantage of that when you come out into this formation. Now, basically, you just got an empty formation, but you got two tight type sets here. You've got it where you've got these guys tight right here. You got these guys where they're tight, and you got the running back lined up out wide. So it's kind of cool right there. Just another formation you can do, and you get an empty formation by simply just motioning that running back out to the right side. All right, guys, that's really it in a nutshell with this particular formation. I just wanted to go through that as far as with that, as far as with the things you can do with the motion. I do want to just walk you through a couple plays real quick, and then we'll get out of this video breakdown. So right now, if I remember right, there's only going to be 12 plays. Yeah, there's only 12 plays in this formation. You got the stick switch, RPO zone peak, corner stop. You also got the X dig, inside zone flood. You got the bench X out. You got the mesh spot. And then you got the 4 verticals, halfback mid draw, and the halfback slip screen. So you've got plenty of, even though there's only 12 plays, all these plays are pretty darn good for the most part. There's some things you can do with these plays. And they're both, you got man and you got zone beaters, plus you got some run plays. So it's definitely worth a formation checking out if you guys haven't had a chance to. In the video breakdown, we're going to talk about a particular play here that's this next video breakdown I'm going to do for this in a separate video breakdown. I'm going to go ahead and show you the play in that video breakdown, and I'm going to show you how you guys can attack, particularly cover 2-man coverage, press coverage, and get a receiver wide open and almost to a one-play type pass play where it literally can turn into a touchdown on just one passing play against cover 2-man. And I want to show that later in another video breakdown. But for now, guys, thanks for hanging out with me on this particular video. And again, this one is called Gun Tight Slots Halfback Week.